Hello everybody, I wanted to do a follow-up video to my Glock Talk to address some issues. First of all, you Glockphile, gunsmithy, techno geek people who had a problem with my terminology on the Glock safety. I explain to new shooters that the Glock basically has no safety. You have to treat it as though it doesn't have a safety. Glock experts and people who are into reading the manuals and things like that will tell you the Glock actually has 3 safeties. That is misleading. Okay? If you read the manual, it says there are 3 safety mechanisms in the design of the Glock, which is true. But they are all designed to prevent the gun from firing if you do not pull the trigger. So, in essence, I look at them from a mechanical point of view as a fail-safe mechanism instead of a safety mechanism. Okay, let me explain to you the difference. You can take it, you can drop it from a helicopter, you can throw it down a cliff, you can kick it across the field, you can shoot it with another gun, and it won't fire. But if you squeeze the trigger, it will fire. Nothing prevents it from firing if you squeeze the trigger. Go look at all of your other semi-automatic firearms. All of your other safety devices on all of your other designs, except for the people who basically ripped off Glock and started designing guns like it, have what's called a safety. And a safety prevents a firearm from discharging even if the trigger is pulled. Your 1911, your Ruger, your Beretta, your AR-15, your AK-47, your Remington, your Winchester, they all have a device like that. So that's the difference in the terminology that I'm using. If I wanted to get all technical on you and describe the 3 safety mechanisms that are inside the Glock, it's pointless because nothing prevents this gun from firing if I pull the trigger. So, for those of you who are Glockphiles with a PH who want to argue with me, let's do a little exercise. Place your weapon on safe. I'll wait. Yeah, that's good coffee. Get my point? Let's move on. And today, I have my patent-pending MilPro paper plate with the likeness of Che Guevara on it. Let's go shoot some stuff. So you get a better look at what I was doing on the other video, on my Glock Talk video, where we were drawing. It's an unloaded weapon. We were drawing, having to work the slide and then come forward. I wanted to give you a little closer look at that, a little slower look. Basically, you draw just like you would under any other circumstances, where you would come here and go forward. A normal draw would look something like this. Okay? It's the same motion. The only thing you're doing differently is with your left hand. You draw the weapon, you bring it forward in the same motion you would. The weapon continues its forward motion. You don't stop the forward motion of the weapon. It comes up and it goes towards the target, and this hand just grips the slide as it goes by and pulls it back. Once you do that, this hand just comes around and grabs around and secures your grip. So it's more or less identical to this as far as your right hand is concerned. The only difference is your left hand coming here and then coming up. So at full speed, it looks something like this. Like that. Okay? One more time. Like that. Today I wanted to talk about a combat scenario in which you may not be fully functional. Let's say you get wounded or injured during the course of the gunfight. How are you going to deal with that? If you, let's say for instance, if bullets start flying, I get wounded in my right hand or my right arm and I can't use it to draw my weapon. Now what am I going to do? First of all, you have to practice shooting with each hand individually. Your weak hand shooting, your strong side shooting, one-handed, and be able to hit these targets. It's very, very critical. We used to do that in the military. It was part of the handgun qualification course, but it's no longer required. You can now fire with both hands throughout the entire course, and I think that's really doing a disservice to our military personnel. for that reason, that you may be wounded someday and you may have to be able to shoot with your left hand only. The other issue that you have to deal with is, how do I draw my weapon if this arm is disabled? Well, you're going to have to reach across with your other hand, but now it's upside down. So let's say if my right hand is bad, I can draw the weapon with my left hand, put it underneath my arm, and twist my grip to be able to come up. Okay. If you're flexible enough, you might be able to reach around and grab it like this, especially if you're carrying around back by your kidney instead of directly on your hip. If it's farther around in the back or in the front, it's going to be easier for you to grab. If you carry directly on your side like this, it's going to make it a little more difficult. You may have to come around the front, pull it out, hold it, and twist your grip around. The other issue is, if you're carrying a weapon without a round in the chamber, you have to be able to work that slide with one hand. So another thing you have to practice is, right hand and left hand, you have to be able to hook your slide in some way on a belt, on your holster, on a pocket flap, anything, in order to work that slide. You just push it down and chamber around that way. So you can pull it out and just rake it across. If it grabs your skin and scratches you up and makes you bleed, tough shit. This is about saving your life in a critical situation. You can worry about getting that bandaged up later. Get a little Bactine and have your mommy kiss it and all that. But this is for real world shit, so you have to be able to do it. And if it means just raking it across your stomach to get that slide work, that's what you're going to have to do. But it's preferable if you have something firm like a leather belt or your holster, anything that's going to get that slide work backwards. You need to practice doing that with both hands. If I have to pull this out and change my grip around and run it down my left side in order to get that round chambered, that's what I'm going to have to do. Whatever it takes to survive. Draw it with my left hand, come up, change my grip, finger off the trigger, work the slide, shoot shay. Unfortunately, no communists were injured during the filming of this episode. MilPro acronyms, no responsibility for your stupidity. Train safe, train hard, stay alive.